And that's when he said he'd never seen one swell that big before. In our next segment, our entertainment reporter, Chris Chamberlain, has some good news for those leaving town this weekend. Chris?
Thanks, Mike. That's some swelling you were talking about there. Anyway, we're here on location at Gen Con 2014 to find out what all the fuss is about. There's over 50,000 people in attendance this year. So, excuse me, sir.
Hey.
You're waiting in line for something here, I can see. What is it you're waiting on?
Oh, hey, listen, this is my first Gen Con. I knew it would be important to get in line right away. I'm going to get the copy of King of New York.
King of New York, that's the new game from Yellow Games, isn't it?
Yeah, they're supposed to be debuting it at the Gen Con this year. Ever since I played King of Tokyo, I knew I had to get my hands on the expansion. I got in line early. I can't wait.
You are aware that there's only 50 copies per day for the 50,000 people, and I believe there's more than 50 people there in front of you.
No, it's 50,000 people, so they're going to have 50,000 copies. That's
I
just
believe
went ahead and
it's
got in line now.
50 copies just today.
50 copies?
Yeah, 50. 50.
But I've been in this line all morning. You're telling me there's only going to be 50 copies of this game?
That is what I was told by the representative over there. In 1719, Daniel Defoe, no relation to Willem Dafoe, wrote the epic epistolary fictional autobiography of one Robinson Crusoe, better known to the world as Robinson Crusoe. It was a story of a man cast away off the coast of America who survived mutineers, pirates, cannibals, starvation.
Back of the line!
I think the original title of the book says it best. The life and strange surprising adventures of Robinson Crusoe of York, mariner, who lived 8 and 20 years all alone on an uninhabited island off the coast of America near the mouth of the great river of Orinoco, having cast ashore by shipwreck wherein all the men perished but himself, with an account on how he was at last strangely delivered by pirates. Now you could do that if you were up for excitement, or you could just buy the Z-Man game Robinson Crusoe and try it. It's a cooperative game for 1 to 4 players where each player takes on the role of an explorer, a cook, a carpenter, or soldier, and has to work together to overcome basically being stranded on an island, especially in the beginning scenario. So what we're going to do is we're going to take you through one round just to give you an idea of how this game's played.
Now we're ready to go ahead and pull the event card and resolve it immediately. This is cold area. Predators clean the area, and it will be difficult to find food today. So as you can see there, we're going to not collect any food in the upcoming production round, and we have to put a gray question mark on top of the gathering deck, which means we're going to have to pull a card from the gathering deck regardless of how many resources we use to gather.
The second phase is the morale phase. The morale level is tracked on the main board and determines whether or not determination tokens are gained or lost. This only applies to the captain each round. If you have to discard more than you currently have, you take a wound.
This production takes place on the hex with your camp symbol on there. So on our camp, each time we're always going to collect 1 food, plus we've gained a extra food chip, so we're going to gain an extra food this round. And although there's not naturally a wood source on our hex here, we've got our +1 wood chip, so we're going to gather 1 wood as well. All of these items go into your available immediately portion of your available resources box, which has the same symbol as your production phase. But because of this card, we are reminded that we don't get to gather any food this round, so that food actually goes right back. That finishes the production phase.
The action phase is divided into 2 phases. the planning, and the resolving. During the planning phase, there are individual actions. Instead, everyone decides as a group what actions to take. They do so by assigning their pawns to whichever action they choose. Because you have 2 pawns, you guessed it, you get 2 actions. However, some actions require more than 1 pawn to complete. Examples include dealing with a threat, hunting, which takes 2 pawns, building, gathering resources, exploration, arranging the camp, and resting. Some actions can be performed with 1 or 2 pawns. While if you use 2 pawns, you're guaranteed success, but 1 pawn leaves it up to the dice. Some other actions require other minimum requirements, such as discarding of food or a minimum weapon level.
Resolution follows the same track across the bottom of the board. We decided not to expend anyone's energy on resolving either of these cards. So next round this is going to get pushed off the deck and we're going to have to pay this penalty. That's next round's problem. Next we go to hunting. That requires 2 resources. We sent the dog and the explorer to go hunting, and they have found a tiger. That's going to be trouble, because as you can see, the tiger requires a weapons level of 6, and currently right now the castaways only have a weapon level of 4. So the explorer is going to take 2 wounds in this fight. Next you go on to your building phase. We chose not to have anybody come over here and build. We've been pretty successful in building several of these added inventions, so we chose not to do that this round. Next you move on to gathering. We did decide to gather because we need some food. Someone's going hungry tonight if we don't. So the cook is gathering food from the adjacent tile. He's gonna, because we only sent 1 character, he's gonna have to roll these dice. And because of this question mark, he's going to have to pull a card regardless of what the dice outcome is. So here we go. Now you resolve the dice in a particular order. You want to resolve the dice in whether or not you got wounded doing the action. The cook did not take a wound. Congratulations. Success or failure. Little V on there stands for victory, call it. So he is successful in gathering his food, which we'll put into the available later resources portion. And then finally, whether or not he has to pull a card. He rolled to pull the card, but as you remember, we were going to have to pull a card because of this question mark disc anyway. So now you pull and resolve this card immediately. This is New Flock. This is a good card. Essentially means we found even more resources on this spot than we thought. Next, you go to the exploring phase. We decided to send the explorer by himself, but use one of his character traits, which is the map, and that allows us to gain a 2-character result with essentially 1 character. So we're going to gain this hexagon on the map, gaining these resources, food and wood, for later. So that moves us on to camp setup. The cook decided to stay around camp, giving himself 2 determination tokens, and gives everybody a bump to our morale track, which takes us up now to 2. And then finally Friday, who was getting a little beaten up in this adventure, decided to stick around and rest, so he's going to gain 1 health to his health track.
Before the weather phase starts, you move all the resources into your available resources slot for use, and then you begin the weather phase. It started by rolling the weather dice to determine the conditions. The number of dice to roll is determined by the scenario and what round you're in. There's 3 types of dice: rain, winter, and hungry animals. The number of winter clouds rolled represents an extra wood that you need to heat your camp. You have to discard 1 wood for each winter cloud. Then you add together the rain and the winter clouds to compare it to your roof level. If there are more clouds than roof, you discard 1 food and 1 wood for each one above the roof. For each one that you cannot discard, each player takes a wound. The Hungry Animal dice can cause you to discard 1 food. It can cause you to decrease your Palisade level by 1. Or it can cause you to fight a beast. For each roll that you cannot resolve, each player suffers a wound. The Storm die is resolved last, and it decreases your Palisade by 1. If you cannot reduce it, say it together, each player suffers a wound.
During the night phase, everybody has to eat. We have 2 survivors, so we're going to need 2 food. The next thing you can do during the night phase is you can decide to allocate some resources towards the scenario objectives. We can give a wood and place that in our signal fire, helping us reach one of the scenario objectives. And finally, in the night phase, you can also move your camp if you choose to do so. So you would actually move your camp signal to an adjacent hex on the board that perhaps gives you better resources than the current hex you're on. Once you've completed those options, that round is finished, and you're going to go back to the number 1 and start your next turn.
The game can end in one of 3 ways. You can successfully complete the objective, which in the Castaway scenario is complete a bonfire or signal fire by round 12 to signal the passing ships. Or the second way you can finish the game is if someone dies. Anybody. Friday. Anybody. And the third way, of course,
is to run out of time, not complete the objective by your final turn. Ship goes by, no signal fire lit. There goes your only chance of being rescued.
which as we all know is bad.
Really bad.
Hi, and welcome to the Boardgame Batcave, where we play all the games so you don't have to. I'm your host, Chris Chamberlain, the Boardgame Black Belt.
And I'm Mike Heronchar, the O.G.G.
Mike Ham, Iron Marshmallow.
And we're here today to review Robinson Crusoe by Z-Man Games. It's a cooperative game for 1 to 4 players that came out in 2012 in Europe and then 2013 in English. And so we played it this weekend to make sure to tell you whether or not you need to waste your money on it. So today we're going to review 4 parts of the game: components, gameplay, theme, and replayability. And then we're going to come back and tell you what we thought and sum it all up.
See you guys back here in a minute.
The components, they were well made. They were pretty. Nothing seemed to be cheap. I mean, besides the little wooden pieces. I guess they could have did something a little bit different. For one that didn't see, that Mike had actually written where the components went to on the pieces, so he'd know where they would go. Good idea to do. It'd probably look nicer if they had actually had little figurines for your character that you're playing. Other than that, everything was really solid. Pretty, well drawn, nothing cheap.
What do you give it?
An 8. I gave it an 8.
The components, I think, in this game are top-notch. Starting right from the box itself, it's a sturdy box. The graphics on the box are pretty. It's really well done. It's nice. It kind of gives you the idea right away of what you're going to get into with the theme of the game that we're going to talk about a little bit later. But so, nice components. Board game itself, also, it's a large board game. There's a lot of pieces going on, so you could see where they might want to scrimp on it a little bit. But in my opinion, they really didn't. Everything is very nice, good quality. I've heard some people say that some of the tokens in there maybe are a little basic, but I kind of liked that idea. For me, it fits with the overall theme of the game. So, in general, very happy with the components. When this game first hit the States, it was hard to find. It was expensive, but since then the price has really come down quite a bit, and I think the price you can get it for now, you're really getting a value with what they put in the box here. So in general, I'm going to go ahead and give the components an overall score of 8. There's just a couple of things that I would have liked to see them do a little bit differently that could have boosted that score, but overall a real high 7. Might as well go ahead and call it an 8 on components.
The components, to me, I usually rate components in 2 ways. How many components and the quality of the components. The number of components in this game is out of the park. There's so many components, it's almost hard to keep track of. So that got a high rating from me. The quality of the components, I divided even further into 2 parts. The artwork's amazing. I love it. I love the pictures. I love the box. And I'm one of those shallow gamers that you can sell me a game if you have good artwork. I don't care. But a couple of the things that took away from me giving it a perfect score were the disc for the action tokens for the players themselves were just wooden disc. And that took away from the theme, I thought. And so I took away some points for that. And they also had plastic tokens and wooden tokens to discern 2 different types of tokens, but they were the same color. They should have made them a different shape or something else just to give me some idea of what was going on there. But I gave components overall a 7.5, which is pretty low for me, but I probably could went higher, but I'm committed now, so 7.5.
I like the theme. I was drawn to it immediately. Had to kind of encourage some of the others in our gaming group to play it, but I think once they played it, they enjoyed it too. So again, it's going to get a real high rating for me. I could play this game as many times as as I can find people to play with me, or I can go ahead and set it up as a solo game, which I've definitely done. So gameplay for me, again, very strong. We're going all the way to 10.
Theme is very important to me. It's probably the most important part of a game to me, and luckily that's where Robinson Crusoe hit it out of the park. Theme was a 10. I'll just tell you, you don't even have to wait till the end of this. It was a 10. It felt like even the board, the box, looks like it's something that washed up on the shore. The theme was infused throughout the cards and the monologues and stuff that was on the cards, and so I don't even have to talk anymore. It's a 10.
Yes, the game felt like you had to survive an island. It had where you crash, you start off, you had nothing, so you had to work on it. You depend on everybody for survival. It wasn't I have to do it on my own, what do I collect? It was everybody had to work together, everyone had their own special roles. Getting the fire going was very important, getting the shelter, the nights, the days, the animals, the hunting, food. It was very important, collecting food. It was really thought out very well. I gave it a 10.
Gameplay was excellent. It ran smoothly. The only caveat I have is that if you're ever going to play this game, make sure the first time you play this game is with someone who knows the rules backwards and forwards. If you don't, I can easily see you becoming frustrated, especially if you're new to gaming. Hardcore gamers will get past that and they'll figure the rules out and do it, but new gamers, if I was a new gamer and wasn't playing with someone the first time that knew what they were doing, I would have given up a long time ago. There's a lot going on this board, which makes it fun in the end, but until you get over that hump of learning it all, it can be quite a burden, especially for people who are trying to get into the board gaming world. So don't start this game with someone who's never played before, or else you might scare them off. But definitely gamers and people who are wanting to learn games, have tried a few. This is the way to go, and it's a 8.5. I gave this an 8.5.
The game, like I said, I was not interested in it at first. Didn't have any reasons to play it. But when we started it, when Mike was explaining all the rules and everything that went in, everything seemed to fit. It wasn't difficult. There's really nothing to have to memorize as far as the pieces go, which is nice. Everything was smooth. It flowed. It flowed well. I gave gameplay an 8.
Again, you're probably not gonna be surprised. I loved it. Had a great time. It's a fun game. For me, this is the kind of game that I enjoy. I like cooperative games to begin with, and then I really like the theme, the survival theme. So, as I've stated, I went into this game already anticipating that I would like it, and I was not disappointed. I enjoyed playing it. There's a lot to this game if you're new to gaming. So it definitely, this is a situation that you could benefit from having somebody play with you who's played it a couple of times before. That just helps the first couple rounds, the first couple phases go a little smoother. But in general, I think for a hardcore gamer or a medium gamer, you're going to pick up the flow of this game really quickly, and it makes a lot of sense. It fits with the theme. It fits with the overall layout of the board. Z-Man and I'm sure Ignacy, the designer, put a lot of thought into helping you with the flow on the board. So in general, gameplay again gets a real high rating from the O.G.G on this one. We're going to give it a 9, all the way up to 9. Really liked it. Love this game. Can't wait to wrap up this review so we can play it again.
I definitely want to play this again. Like I said, I only played it this one time. I wasn't in the mood. I didn't want it, but after I played it, I'd like to play it again. Probably more than one time, because of all the other possibilities that we could go happen. The first time we played, we won. We succeeded, so definitely want to play it again. 10.
Huge. Off the charts for me. Replayability is... I don't think you're going to find a game that's going to offer you more options, more chances to play it and have a different experience every time. Right from the very start, just the number of players that you have joining you in the game changes the feel. And then you've got 6 different scenarios that are going to come in the box directly, plus you can go onto the Z-Man website and download 2 additional scenarios already. That have a real different feel from what you get with the basic game. So if it just came with that opening scenario of Castaways, you'd be able to play this game many, many times and not get bored. Then you throw in the fact that there are 5 other scenarios in the box, plus more online. They also have an expansion that's out already. We'll hopefully be talking about that in future episodes. So replayability to me, again, off the charts. On this one, we're going to turn the dial all the way to 11. They won't let me do that. So replayability from the O.G.G gives it a 10. Thanks for checking it out.
I usually rank these things based on how many times I would want to play it again. The score only goes to 10. I think there's about that many scenarios in the box, so I'm going to give it a 9 just because I've only played it a couple of times and I'd like to play a few more before I go any higher than that. But we'll give a replayability a 9. All right, welcome back. Now we've told you everything we know about the game, and any final thoughts, guys?
Oh yeah, I got a lot of thoughts on this game. As you all know, I was really excited about this game. I scoured the internet looking to try to find the first copy I could get my hands on. So, admittedly, I went into this game wanting to love it, and I loved it every bit as much as I thought I would. So, that doesn't happen all that often. A lot of times when I get my expectations really built up, when I finally see the final product, sometimes I can be a little bit let down. I don't think that was the case with Robinson Crusoe at all. Looked forward to the game as soon as I got a hold of it, was able to play it. I've enjoyed it every time. You don't win every time, not by any means, but you have a good time every time it hits the table. I can't recommend this game strongly enough. What did you guys think about it?
I liked it as far as not really knowing anything about it. I wasn't really looking forward to getting the game, but after playing it, I'd get it. I'd definitely buy it. It's fun.
Same way. It's a trifecta here. I was looking forward to this game for a long time. I don't own it yet, but I was looking forward to playing it. And when I did, I was not let down. The theme is outstanding, as I said before. And not only would I recommend this game, but I would probably try to convince people to play it so I'd have some more people to play with. That's just me. Alright, so now that you got our final thoughts on it, let's consult the hard data. So the average score I gave it was an 8.75.
I came in at 9.25.
I gave it a 9.
So everyone's hovering right around 9. Let's see what those numbers come out to be on the back computer. Math is hard. And the back computer says the average score for the Board Game Back Cave is a 9. 9 out of 10. But the most important opinion we haven't gotten yet. What does Batman think?
You wanted me. Here I am.
So what did you think of Robinson Crusoe?
These board games can't stop me. Because I'm what Gotham needs me to be. You'll hunt me. You'll condemn me. Set the dogs on me. Because that's what needs to happen. Because sometimes the truth isn't enough. Sometimes the people deserve more. Sometimes the people deserve to have their faith rewarded. And I give it a 9. Smoke bomb!
Welcome back. You got stuck around long enough to see what we're going to talk about on the next episode of the Board Game Bat Cave. So we're going to start over here and find out what he wants to play next.
Next time, I'm really hoping we will play Libertalia. This is a pirate-themed game, fairly new, getting a lot of buzz. I've been looking forward to this a lot. My vote, Libertalia.
Mine is also a pirate game. It's not new though, but it is in reprint now, so now's the time to review it so you can pick up your own copy.
I'd like to try Legendary. It's Marvel, it's comic books. What there's not to like about it, I don't know, but I'm going to find out.
Alright, let's consult the Dice of Destiny to find out which game we're going to play next time. Winner takes, high number takes all. 6.
3.
4.
Tune in next time for Jamaica.
There it is, folks.